Welcome back, Home Wizards here. Eric Stromer and Cindy Dole, where we love to help you improve your home and improve your life. And Eric, you were just telling me during the break that you're not sure you're a believer.
It's not that I'm not sure. I just think I'm dead inside, and I haven't experienced
you are
any
very
of these
sensitive
vibrations.
Oh, come on, you're a very sensitive person.
Yeah, I want to know, but I'm also I would be so scared if actually something did show up.
I'm a believer, and with me are a couple of guys who I guess are semi-skeptical, but they are definitely ghost investigators. Pat and Brian, they're with BeyondInvestigation.com and Beyond Investigation Magazine. Pat Wheelock and Brian Patton. So thanks for being here, and I love your T-shirt. This is nice orbs.
It's one of our, it was a prototype that we had done. We were actually the last time we did the Ghost Fest Expo at the Queen Mary. We were looking at doing some T-shirt designs, and this was one of the ones I came up with. And,
so explain to people who may not be in the know, what is an orb?
Are we talking in this context or in the ghostly context?
No, I'm afraid in that context we shouldn't know.
I meant, family friendly, yeah.
Orbs are very common in ghost hunting. People take pictures and things show up. Okay,
like little
glowing things. In reality, a lot of people see these as spirits, some sort of manifestation of the spirits. In reality, in the photos that we've investigated and checked, I would even go as far as saying 99% of them that I've ever seen are dust, insects, and moisture. A lot of them that and we do this on a continual basis. People send us photos all the time, and we've been able to debunk pretty much all of them.
Oh, that's kind of depressing.
I know. I don't mean to be the buzzkill on this, but
so do you guys look at all those YouTube videos? I mean, when I was doing some research, I saw there's so many videos of people claiming, "Hey, I put a camera by my pantry, left it on overnight,
right.
And then you see the door in the middle of the night open and then close." Or, "Hey, I left the camera on by my dining room table overnight, and then chairs are flying." I mean, is that for real? How do you know?
Unless we were actually there. There's going to be a level of skepticism by us. Unless we're physically there to be able to test what's going on and truly see from the camera's view, there's quite a bit that you're not being able to see. And that's really where our thought process is as far as when we go to investigate places, is we need to see what's really going on as opposed to being handed something in 2D format or something on the screen.
Yeah.
Have you ever been able to prove the ghosts exist, or you're still waiting?
Nope.
No.
Nobody's been able to.
Nobody has. And frankly, anybody that tells you they can prove it,
grab your wallet and run.
Yeah.
The debunkers.
Yeah, because it's like I said, and it's not that we're coming from a position that we're absolute non-believers, because that's not the case.
I wouldn't have been doing this for 34 years if I didn't believe.
So you want to believe,
right?
I believe that something is going on. I just don't know what that is.
I mean, because when your dad died, right? Isn't this when you thought, I want to find if there's something going on out there?
Well, no. That was kind of an extension of it, or an advancement of it. I started doing this 34 years ago. Really, it was because the group that I was hanging around with, we got tired of, or at the end of scaring the tar out of kids in our front yard haunt that we'd made up, we decided to go ahead and. I can't get it's past 7 years, so I'm okay. We decided to break into
you can get in trouble for that.
Broke into the local haunted house and sat there and pretty much scared the tar out of each other for a couple of weeks going at different times.
So basically, you got into this business by breaking and entering.
Right. Yeah. Crime is really the best way to get into this entire thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and it was just that. On the last day that I finally convinced everybody, let's go ahead and try it again, we did get something strange on just one of those, piece of junk Panasonic cassette recorders that everybody had back in the early 70s, and it just kind of grew from there.
And what did yours say?
It didn't say anything. It was the sound of footsteps, and we knew that everybody was seated at the time, so we didn't hear it at all while it was going on. It wasn't until we played it back.
So it has been 7 years. Were you high?
No.
But doesn't that count as evidence if that's an audio recording without explanation?
It was.
It's evidence.
It's evidence.
It's not proof. There's a difference.
It's not proof that there's. I can't go break into that same house again. First off, But there's a lot of factors that have to there's a ton of processes before we have actually stepped foot into a place to investigate.
So what is it? Give us the list. What qualifies?
Okay, well, we need to know everything about the property, and that includes the people that are in it, people that have been in it, the claims of anybody dying in this place. We also need to know about the house itself or the building itself. Do we have any electrical problems? Do we have any water pipe problems? Do we have any gas problems? Do we have any
insects?
rats?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or pests, yeah.
What's underneath the house? Do we have any electrical lines? And in some cases, counties have buried their main power lines and forgot to tell everybody that, hey, we got this line out here, and they've built a house on top of it 50 years later. Need to make sure that that's not happening. We also need to make sure that, especially in California, where we've got a zillion fault lines, we also need to know what the bedrock is underneath there, because if there's something that gives us a piezo effect, we can get what's considered energy bursts, which is it's the same thing when you go to start your barbecue and that little sparker. If there is an element of quartz underneath that house and there is movement of any sort, it can create that. So until we eliminate all these things, you're chasing your own tail.
Right. Queen Mary not haunted?
No, I wouldn't say that. I tell you what, I can only speak from this, and we've been doing the Queen Mary now for quite some time, and the amount of evidence that we've gotten from the Queen Mary has been very good, and some of them we've been able to debunk. We've taken photos, we've taken videos, but we've had experience where we were locked in rooms. We know we're the only ones there, like the pool area, for example. We've got movement on cameras, and when we go out there, we've got a full team of people. We've got microphones, we've got cameras, digital, audio, or analog, every kind of possible medium that we can take to these things. And we had 2 different people watch someone walk across the screen. We thought we were being, that the security had been breached. We rush in, we lock everything down, couldn't find anybody. We've got audio recordings of what sounds like a little girl laughing, a child laughing.
You always hear about the child.
The child one, yeah. And there's a lot of stories that go with them. A lot of them aren't true, and that's kind of what we do on the Queen Mary as well. That when we've done them is the story of there was a young girl that drowned in the first class pool. Right? Great story, never happened. Okay, and we've been able to prove that.
There's absolutely no record whatsoever of any child, male or female, or adult, male or female, ever drowning
in the pool. And maritime law states that you have to report, any and all deaths. Versus the story of John Petter, who was the one that was crushed between the waterproof door. Yeah, happened.
So really, you guys are like forensics investigators. I mean, we
go through every single aspect before we go. Look, we're old, fat, and lazy. We don't want to go hauling in 2 trucks worth of stuff
old.
into. He's old. He's just not as old. But we don't want to go, carrying 2 truckloads worth of stuff onto a property.
Is that how much you have?
Oh, yeah.
And what kind of stuff is in the truck?
Oh, God. You've got, up to 64 digital cameras feeding back to a the digital DVRs.
Yeah, we run
system.
32 channels of audio when we roll out the entire thing. Yeah. Still cameras, motion sensors, Geiger counters, natural tri-field meters. I mean, there's a ton of stuff, and it's not just. A lot of people that do this, and I'm not trying to cast aspersions, but that this equipment proves that there's a ghost there. It doesn't. What it does is allows you to measure and eliminate other possibilities. A lot of the case, I heard earlier the K2 meter is the big buzzword. K2. You guys do this in the home improvement thing. You have the exact same circuit in equipment that you've probably used 5 times in the last week. Yeah. Okay, your stud finder. It's the exact same circuit that's in the K2 meter. Yeah. Identical.
And I still can't find a stud using a stud finder.
I have the same problem.
But you can find ghosts with it now.
Right, yeah, you can't find a stud, but you can find a ghost with it, right? Bang on the wall. That works better for me. You can keep those things.
Yeah. But I'm guessing that people must call you and be really in a panic and have just be so scared and want you to help prove that no, there aren't ghosts there, and you probably give them a sense of relief if that's what you're able to do.
Sometimes that's the case, yeah.
But other times we get a call because they want there to be something, and we've probably the easiest to explain would be the case where somebody will call us and say, hey, we have a poltergeist in our house. Our son is being attacked, and we need help. Very first thing that comes up to our minds is, okay, who's on what medication? And that's not we're not trying to kid around. We need to find out who's under a doctor's care. And case in point, we were called out to a place, and that very same scenario, Junior was being attacked every night. He wouldn't even go into his room. So we, the first thing we ask is, who is under a doctor's care? Nobody, absolutely nobody. So, okay, so nobody is taking any type of prescription medication whatsoever. Nobody's been diagnosed with epilepsy, seizures, or any type of neurological disorder. No, none whatsoever. We get out there for a pre-interview. We sit down with just Mom, make sure the house is empty. We check what's going on. We take the interview on video so that we can watch it and review it afterwards. We leave. We set up another interview, this time halfway through it. We want Junior to come in, and we'll go ahead and test what's going on, kind of to get us a feel as to where we're going with this. So the second interview comes. Mom gives us some more feedback. We can't find anything wrong with the house whatsoever. Junior comes walking in at the half hour, goes straight to the kitchen. Mom follows him in there, opens up the cupboard. She pulls down a prescription bottle of pills, hands him one, and he walks outside. Immediately.
It's Ritalin, right?
Well, it was a form of
attention deficit type.
That type of
drugs.
I can tell you, if you walked into my house, you would know that someone should be on medication.
When we come back, that's a different show.
That's good. Thank you.
But when we come back, we will continue talking with a couple of guys who are all about debunking the whole idea of maybe there really aren't ghosts in your home, but maybe there are.
Or maybe it's just gas, or something you ate last night.
Beyond Investigations, Pat Wheelock and Brian Patton are here, and we'll talk more with these guys after the break. Cindy Dole and Eric Stromer here on Home Wizards, KFWB News Talk 980.
You wanna feel at home 'cause you belong.
Kindly step all the way in, please, and make room for everyone. There's no turning back now. Is this haunted room actually stretching?
Yes, the haunted house at Disneyland.
Imagination?
Oh,
I know
it's
it
spooky.
well.
Yep.
Home Wizards here, the spooky version as we here this Halloween season. Explore the idea that maybe your home could be haunted. Eric Stromer and Cindy Dole are here, and so are Pat and Brian. They are.
Pat and Brian don't believe in
They're
ghosts.
with Beyond Investigation, and Pat, you were talking about that there have been some really spooky things that have happened to you. Share the story about how on the Queen Mary someone was tapping on your shoulder.
No, that's Brian.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Oh,
Sorry,
me.
Brian.
That
Sorry,
was me.
Brian. Excuse me, Brian.
Yeah, we were doing a tour. This was during the Ghost Fest Expo a couple of years back. This was 2 years ago. And I'm sitting there. We have a bunch of people back in what they call the green room. It's in the boiler area. It's a small little tiny. I mean, it's no bigger than than the studio. And we had 30-something people in this room, and it was just packed. So I'm standing at the doorway, and we tell the story about what the spirit that people have seen, a very angry ghost by the name of Hank is the name that someone had given him, and so we go through and tell them the story, and then everybody, we got the recorders and everything else, and I'm standing there in the doorway, and there's a little walkway behind me, that's 3 feet wide, and I'm just standing there, and I feel on my shoulder, tap, tap, tap. Now, my wife is standing behind me along with one other tour guest, and they're on the opposite side of the walkway. So I turn around to look to her and, give her the, what kind of thing. And she stares at me like I just asked her if the sky was purple. And she goes, what? And I said, what do you want? She goes, nothing. I said, you just tapped on my shoulder. And she says, no, I didn't. And the girl next to her goes, we were both standing here. Nobody touched you. So, I stand there again, and then it happens again. And then, so of course, then the tour group, everybody's got to grab me and pull me into the room, and let's see if we can get the angry ghost to beat up Brian some more. And sat there, and they kept asking questions and things like that. And I was hit with enough force, and I'm a fat guy, okay? And you got to hit me with some movement to get me moving, and enough to knock me back into the people behind me. And we went back to the video, and according to the witnesses there, nobody touched me. It was pitch black. I couldn't see, so I can't tell you for sure. But later on that night, I had a nice red mark when we walked back to the room, and by the time I woke up in the morning, I had a bruise about the size of a Coke can. So
Hank sucker punched.
Hank sucker punched me. And,
but you say what? That you can't.
It's a great story,
prove
isn't it?
This.
Okay,
yeah, it's a great story.
But I can't prove it. I didn't see it. It was, like I said, it was pitch black, and people had cameras in the room, but the angles that they were at when that happened, I cannot with absolute certainty say that nobody touched me.
And Pat, you aren't convinced by that.
I don't believe anything he tells me anyway.
Pat just is a guy that looks like he doesn't believe anything.
He doesn't believe he's here right now.
No,
as a matter of fact.
But Pat, you do believe that there is something unexplained.
There's something going on, but it's minuscule compared to the number of reported incidences. We're hounded with emails and phone calls and everything else, and on our forum, on our website, and call-ins to our radio show and everything. And you've got to look. 99.9% of the time, nothing is going on. A vast majority is people's over-imagination. There is a smaller number of people that are creating what's going on because either they want fame, they want fortune, whatever the case may be. Yep. There is an even smaller group of people that need somebody to pay attention to them, and that leaves the 0.01% or 0.1% of the possibility of something going on. So it's very rare. Look, I know on all the TV shows they've got the boogeyman jumping out at every corner.
They are either the luckiest people on earth, or something else is going on.
Right.
Yeah. And like I said, we've been doing this a long time, and we can count. How many times we've sat in buildings and ran all this equipment for hours on end and multiple days and come back with nothing. Mm-hmm. It's more common to get zero evidence when we do an investigation than when we actually do get stuff.
Right. So, is there anything that's ever happened that you guys will suspend disbelief and think maybe this is possible?
It's not that there's look, I wouldn't be doing this for, like I said, 34 years if I didn't believe something was going on. I just don't know what that is. If Fred the Ghost came up and shook my hand, said, "Hi, I'm Fred the Ghost, and what would you like to know?" Of course, at that point, I'm going to take advantage of Fred and make sure that everybody understands every aspect of what it is that he's all about.
And retire to some island someplace and sell the book rights. So,
I don't know, Pat. It sounds like your job's kind of frustrating. I mean, you're so close, but yet you can't believe it because there's not enough. I mean, you're like right to the key of the universe, but can't buy it.
I'm a fence sitter.
You're what?
I'm a fence sitter.
A fence sitter.
Okay, and I'm going to stay on that fence until I have proof one way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't care which way it goes. I really don't. We've got people on our team that absolutely believe in nothing. They're there for the scientific collection of data.
They don't. They're absolute non-believers.
They're nihilists.
Yeah.
Well, don't you have like
and their belief is that they're there for the scientific collection of data. That is it. We have the opposite end where we've got all the way to a couple of guys that stand well over 6 feet tall and close to 300 pounds, and they're afraid of their own shadow.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that brings you to me, which is a fence sitter, and we've got a few of me there too.
Yeah, and it's I've said, and we've talked about this a couple in different places and forums and things like that. But for the non-believer, for the skeptic, for the pure non-believer, no proof will ever do. Okay, for the true believer, no proof is necessary. So. I try to same thing. I'm in the middle. I've had some fantastic things that recorded evidence and things like that push me to belief, but there's just that amount of skepticism in there that I'm a visual person. When I see it with my own eyes, then I'll probably become a believer. But
so
it hasn't happened yet.
Let's use your smarts and your experience and all the tools that you've used to not yet really be convinced that there is a ghost, but knowing that there is something out there but not sure, to calm the nerves of people who maybe tonight or over the next few weeks or sometime, who knows when, they wake up, they hear something, they see something, they don't know what to make of it, but they are really afraid. How can you calm them down to kind of think like you guys, to be more rational maybe?
Well, first off, if your lights are going on and off, call an electrician.
Seriously, no, absolutely.
I mean,
that's no joke in that. That's a lot of times we've done that.
Yeah, get somebody out there that's a professional. Find out, make sure that if the electrical system in your house is working and all the appliances that you're claiming is turning on and off, everything works. Is cleared by your electrician, then great. Now you've got something to focus on. But until you've gone through the basics to be able to understand that you don't have an electrical problem, you don't have a gas leak, you don't have a carbon monoxide buildup or carbon dioxide buildup on the lower floors, you don't have leaky pipes, you don't have rodents.
Air in the pipes is a big one. I hear this strange moaning all the time. I'm like, does it sound like this? And I went over and flushed their toilet and waited. And
but what about?
Yeah, that's it.
What about the doll though that talks in the middle of the night? That's kind of creepy.
They are creepy. Dolls are creepy anyway.
Like clowns.
Don't even start on clowns. That's a whole different phobia. That's a therapy session. We don't want to talk
ask
about.
him about the Teletubbies too.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened?
But no, it's not so much. No, don't even start. I'm not. You know what? I'm not even going to tell that story, and I don't think you can tell it on the air anyway. So, no, the things that you should check beforehand. And a lot of the stuff that people report, the reports of hauntings and things like that, they see shadows. Okay, shadows are a very common one. Okay, a lot of times, and there's no light into the room except for the blinds over there. Well, the car goes by on the street, it reflects off the other side, and we've sat there with cameras and shown them, look, this is where that shadow is coming from. Okay. So a lot of things, common sense is really what it comes down to a lot of the times is take yourself outside of the mode of fear. And fear is a lot of this. Some people really enjoy that part of it. They like the adrenaline rush.
Yeah. Look at amusement parks.
Exactly.
Right?
So they're like, I want my house to be haunted.
Yeah. What is your website? Because we're running out of time, so people can at least learn more about you.
It is beyondinvestigation.com, and you can come check us out. And
fun having you guys. Thank you for helping us be less scared, at least.
Not a problem.
And I love all the instruments that you use, and I love that you're so forensic about your approach. It's something to be respected. So,
and I'm no longer scared.
there you go.
Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. We're back in the house tomorrow for a special 2 hours of Home Wizards. And then next Saturday, we're live from Pacific Sales in San Dimas. We're going to show you how to carve a pumpkin with those everyday tools that you've got in your garage. Home Wizards, we're here every Saturday, 2 to 4. Catch us tomorrow, a special one on Sunday. But until then, remember the keys under the mat. Bye-bye.